Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Center for Cultural Diplomacy Studies, Mark Donfried, Director General of the Academy, organizers, staff, volunteers, and the number of students that we had with us over the past weekend for your invitation and for permitting me to speak in this space. Over the last couple of days, we've heard from very learned and experienced individuals as they gave their perspectives on law, economics, history, psychology, globalization, and finance as related to the fall of the Berlin Wall 30 years ago. None of these are my area of expertise. I was a member of Parliament with the Government of Canada for the past 4 years, Parliamentary Secretary to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Parliamentary Secretary to International Development. I started as a Liberal Member of Parliament and ended my one and only 4-year term as an independent Member of Parliament. It was the most painfully beautiful experience I've had. And over those 4 years, I've learned more about the power and capacity of people to create change than I've learned in my entire life. Over those 4 years, I learned what transformational impact hard work and hope can have. And so today, I'm here to talk to you about hope and the power to create change. Like the previous speaker, I will speak today as an activist. I was 15 at the time when I saw the crumbling wall flash across my television screen as I sat with my family to watch the evening news. It had long been a symbol of fight and struggle, of pain and death, and the television depicted hope and freedom, joy, and a new life. I could not help but feel happy and proud as I watched the faces of the people on the screen with tears and smiles. And it is those images that I remember today. You see, I remember those faces because today, more than ever, we need hope. In the face of climate change, in the face of refugee crisis, in the face of populism and xenophobia and racism and sexism and intolerance, we need hope. The fall of the Berlin Wall was not just a historical moment. It was and should always be a call to action. On David Letterman's Netflix show, My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, Barack Obama says that part of the ability to lead does not have to do with legislation and regulation. It has to do with shaping attitude, shaping culture, and increasing awareness. Throughout my mandate in politics, I've spoken out on issues of mental health, social justice, inclusion, and equity, and that is what I will continue to do today. It has never been my job, even within my own government, to make a politician's job, my job, easy. It was my job, my responsibility, to push us to do better because I knew that we were the best. And the people voted for us because we were the best. We needed to push ourselves to do and be better. But you see, pushing the status quo, breaking glass and concrete ceilings requires us to have awkward conversations that change attitudes, shape culture, and increase awareness. So I'm hoping that by the end of this talk to do 3 things. I'm hoping that you'll think about walls differently. I'm hoping that you will push to do better tomorrow than you did today. And I'm hoping to inspire you to take action. Why? Because the world needs you. It needs you because we have approximately 70 million people living on this planet who do not have a home. In 1989, when the Berlin Wall fell, 11 countries had borders, fences, or walls, and by 2016, 70 countries had those walls. The average stay of a refugee is 20 to 25 years in a camp. The average years displaced, 26. This is not a myth or fiction. Earlier this year, I had welcomed the Adzamega family to Whitby. They had been in a refugee camp in Ghana for 27 years. 27 years. And when the UN decided to stop supplying food to the camp, they spent at least a dozen years hungry, starving, searching for food. These are men and women and children. These are our brothers and our sisters. Let us pause for one moment. Let us pause and imagine being robbed in your life of 27 years. Imagine from your birth to 27 years old, Imagine the last 27 years of your life being robbed from you. These are our people. Think about it. What happens when we put up walls instead of welcome signs? Where is our humanity if we look at these people with walls in our hearts? Where is our humanity if we put up walls in front of our houses and do not let them in? Maintain humanity. Do not get desensitized. You see, we cannot look over there and point at him as he builds a wall that separates a country from another and criticize while we build equally impenetrable walls around our hearts. Because the collective action of building walls around ourselves, the aggregate cost of our ignorance and indifference, is more dangerous than any wall he could put up. I want you to think about walls differently. Change came to Germany and the entire Eastern European bloc due to collective action of people. There was the Solidarność movement in Poland, and there was a strong environmental movement happening in Eastern Germany, all collectively bringing messages of hope. We cannot put walls around ourselves to keep the others out and expect change to happen. It is not just walls in our hearts that are harmful. It is invisible walls or systemic barriers we put in the way of others that keep them out and make equity and justice impossible. They have detrimental impacts to our society, country, and our world. Why do we have male and female washroom signs in 2019? Why can't members of the LGBTQI+ communities feel safe in spaces? Are those labels important? Or is it important that we just all wash our hands? Isn't that what we should care about? Why do we hold meetings and events in spaces that are inaccessible at the expense of those with disabilities? Why have we passed laws in Canada that restrict people from wearing their religious clothing and symbols to work? At present, Muslim women in Canada are forced to leave their jobs, their passion, their communities, and move to other provinces to work and maintain a livelihood. Why do our systems, like our justice system and immigration system, have disproportionately negative impact on people of color and Black communities? Why, as a Black woman, when I walk into a room with my hair in braids or natural or in dreads, am I deemed less professional than my counterparts? Why does missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada continue to be a national shame? Thousands of Indigenous women and girls are missing and murdered with very little action and no mass and consistent public outcry. We cannot attain the UN Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals and 169 targets, and the call to leave no one behind if we continue to invite the usual suspects to conversations. We need to invite the unusual suspects to these rooms to have these conversations, because what happens here will impact them and change their lives. It is clear that if we are going to be inclusive about implementing the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, we need to invite them. We need to include them. If we are to build more sustainable, resilient societies, we need people, human beings, at the center of our decision-making. We need to design, implement policies and programs that respond to the specific challenges that underrepresented and marginalized groups identify for themselves, whether they are Indigenous people, youth, new immigrants, refugees, single parents, seniors, people with disabilities, the LGBTQ2+ communities, and individuals of color. It is time to tear down walls that divide us and realize our collective humanity and what we can achieve together. I want you to push to do better tomorrow than you did today. However, my friends, the largest wall that we put up is around the ignorance and lack of action with climate change. The world is burning. Indigenous communities are under threat and dying. Pollution is filling our air and plastics our oceans. This will kill us. We know that climate change will have a disproportionate negative impact on the poorest and most vulnerable in our society, especially women and children. The weather is getting wetter, warmer, and wilder, and we see short and long-term displacement of people and whole islands being wiped out. I am from Grenada, a small island in the Caribbean, and over the years, many islands have been impacted as a result of our collective inaction. According to the World Health Organization, between 2030 and 2050, climate change is expected to cause approximately 250,000 additional deaths each year from malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to inspire you to take action to save our planet. What have we learned in the past 30 years? How have we evolved as human beings? What have we done differently to honor the legacy of those who fought and hurt and died to see that wall crumble down? My friends, inasmuch as I push, I do believe in humanity. I believe that the light inside each of us is brighter and will shine through and over any wall that we decide to build. We are human beings capable of extraordinary feats of science and technology and vision. We have the audacity to dream and the power to make those dreams come true. The fall of the Berlin Wall was not just a historical moment. It was a call to action that starts today, a call to action that starts right now. Thank you.